China used to have some really, really bad roads. When I started my cycle tour, I went from Ningbo, 3,000 kilometers, all the way to Guangzhou, and then I got in a car accident and run over by a truck on my way to Guilin. That was probably the longest stretch of road that I rode on my cycling journey. And we had some gravel roads, some broken roads, some shitty roads, some just awful, awful roads. That wasn't the shortest distance. So I did that in 2014, and the roads were disgusting. It was like trying to cycle through sand or rough rubble. That was what it was like riding a lot of these, even second-tier roads. They weren't like the highways. I couldn't ride on the highways, but I rode on the secondary roads. Now, I rode again in 2018, 2019, I think I was back in China and I was cycling south. I cycled through some of the poorest areas in China, Guangxi province. I was expecting the worst because I had just cycled, years prior. And holy shit, the difference was incredible. The amount of infrastructure that China has, the amount of investment that China has put into infrastructure all over China. I'm talking even way out in Dunhuang, all the way into areas that are remote, where very few people live. I was in a valley in Guangxi that the villagers were like in the dozens, and they had like white paved roads that went up over mountains into valleys. You could tell that there was a lot of forethought in a lot of these infrastructure projects, and that has changed so vastly. Used to be in the, oh my God, I really don't like the infrastructure here in China. Today, it's in the, oh my God, this is awesome. It's really awesome. That's why I really have a frustration with people that say that China hasn't lifted anybody out of poverty, or China didn't do this, or China didn't do this. Listen, you build roads and it provides an opportunity to people. Roads provide opportunity. And there are so many more roads that have been built in a quick way, in a quality way, that it's undeniable that people have been able to lift themselves to a higher level simply because there's a better road into their hometown that connects them to the world. I lived in Detroit. We had like 2 seasons. It was summer and construction. And it seemed like nothing ever, it was just the smallest amount of stuff was improved. As opposed to in China, that same amount of time, they'd build roads throughout the entire city. In the same time that Detroit was working on one section of highway, it seemed like China would just have all of this stuff done. It's just really, really incredible to see the progress that can be made when you do have sort of a single party-ish system that says, we are gonna do this, we're gonna invest the money, and we are gonna connect the city with rail, we're gonna connect the city with roads. I think there's lessons to be learned in how China got that stuff done, and maybe the systems don't exist in America or some places, not the same governmental structure, but you got to look at the proof and the results of it. It's a real amazing experiment. You build the roads, let's see what happens. Well, China's built the roads, you can see what's happened. Why don't you take that and say, well, maybe we can do something like that here in America, but in our own special way.